Hey y'all, welcome to CC's Texas Garden. So guys, I'm taking y'all to class tonight. I'm hoping I have enough charge on my camera, but there is an Earthworm 101 class, and I want to get into vermiculturing. I want to do earthworm castings and all that. I want to start an earthworm farm. So it's a guy tonight that is going to be teaching this class, and I am going to go check it out, and I'm going to take y'all along with me. So it starts in like 30 minutes, and I got to drive to the place. Hopefully it's a small class. Right now it looks like only like 5 or 6 people, which means maybe we'll get some hands-on, or you know, I can be up real close. I would love if I could have went live, but I'll make it into a video. It'll be okay. Again, thank y'all for all the support that I've been getting. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that while we head to this class. All right, guys, we've made it here. Let's see, I got like 34%, so I gotta be very choosy on what I film to have enough time to film it. But like I said, I've made it here, and I see that they are looking at the little garden and things right now. Like I said, this is the community center. Not community center, it's the community garden in Liberty. If you know, it's at the dwelling. And I'm gonna go look out there and see what they're doing.
At Lowe's yesterday, and I was gonna leave this here with y'all to have a little worm bin, and this is gonna be like a breeder bin to breed some worms, and that'll give y'all time to figure out how y'all want to do it, as far as if y'all want to have like a community worm bin here, give you time to build a bigger one or whatever.
That's
but
awesome.
Worms are like, if you put them in a small group, they'll think their population dwindled, so they're like large numbers. So they'll like start reproducing real fast, and they call breeder bins. They're kind of small,
Gotcha.
and that's how you double your population of worms. They'll mate real fast. You know, the worm's really not a male or female; it's a hermaphrodite. So each worm will get pregnant when they twist around each other.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's crazy.
That took me a second. My
each
ears heard it, and then my brain accepted it.
each worm can house. I mean, each cocoon that a worm lays can house up to seven worms in each cocoon. The cocoon houses the eggs, and the eggs houses the worms, you know. But
I'm going to capture this. You keep talking, we'll just...
Yeah, as far as me coming up with stuff to say, y'all might have to ask me questions sometimes, but other than that, I just kind of go off. I didn't bring any paperwork too much. I did, but I figured I'd come in here and go off the cuff, you know, top of my head. But I brought a few things to pass around as far as paperwork. So basically, everything here in the Ziploc bags is stuff that you need to have a pretty successful worm bin. Okay. You know, this is gonna be your worm chow. I brought y'all plenty of that, so y'all can have that. This right here is for when you have too many soldier fly larvae, because eventually you'll get soldier fly larvae in your worm bin, and they could take over if you let them get out of control, like too many of them. So this right here is kind of to control the population. Plus, it has calcium in there with I think that has magnesium too, and calcium. Versus just limestone has just calcium without the magnesium, so this is really better for the plants and the soldier fly larvae.
And where do you get this stuff?
You can get that at Tractor Supply. It's called pulverized domatic limestone.
Okay.
So you don't want to get anything hydrolyzed, because that'll kill your worms. It has to be like pulverized. It's a real powder form. And this might be hard for y'all to get, I don't know, but I make it myself. This is biochar.
Oh yeah.
And this is what a lot of commercial worm farmers use. But I got like a can, and it's sealed, and I have a little hole on top, and I put that can, I fill it full of hard wood and stuff, put it in a fire, and then it'll cook the wood inside, degas it, and then it'll be like charcoal, you know, it's real light, but I'll crush it down into powder. And they say this stuff inside a worm bin, it acts like a coral reef or something for the microbes to live inside, like an apartment complex or something like that.
So you sprinkle that over the entire bin, or
No,
one,
just a little amount of it, and that's fine.
just in one spot, or?
Do the whole thing. I do the whole thing
Sprinkle
a
it
little
around.
bit.
I use
And
batch for
I
everybody.
also get like crushed oyster shells. Like when it comes to the feed store, I don't think them things are real oyster shells. Like it says they are, but I know I go down to Kennefic at my brother's and go down there. You got a spot down there with a bunch of oyster shells that are real ones. I crush them things up. They don't look nothing like the ones you buy at the feed store. So, and you know, hardwood mulch is a good thing to add. You got mushroom compost. That's a good one too. I brought, this is for like shredded newspaper and cardboard. This is one of the necessities for any worm bin pretty much. They love to glue off the cardboard. They'll eat it or whatever. They got small mouths.
How do you shred your cardboard?
I have a shredder. It's
Like a leaf shredder?
it's a Fellows shredder. It's
Oh,
not a
okay.
leaf shredder. It's a actually the one I got is for the house and the computer under the computer, but for all the papers that you know disregard. But
Yeah, that's
it
all
does
I use
cardboard.
too, is
If I do
just a
newspaper through
regular
there, it'll clog up more than it will if I do cardboard.
Huh.
So if I do newspaper, it'll get clogged up and kind of overheat or something. So I'll just run cardboard through there and it'll clean it out.
Now, do you put
Hey,
any
I've been researching it for a while.
do you put any vegetable scraps or anything
All
in the?
vegetables. I got a feed chart here for y'all too. And we pass this around also. Making the bedding before you give it to your worms. Because they would rather have it broke down for a few days in water in a bucket or something. Because they can't, they're not gonna like it if you give them fresh vegetables and stuff. They like it when it starts to break down and you know, get the microorganisms working at it, starting to break it down, turn the compost a little bit. But let's see, I brought y'all plenty of worms. Got a whole bucket here. This is probably, this is enough for this, no. But like I was telling them, this will give you time, because I didn't know what y'all want to do, how, I got designs on worm bins that y'all can look at too. Because I have a few different designs I can use. And this, y'all can't get this book yet. But I did work on this pretty long last night. This is all the parts of a worm. That's going to be the mouth, and it's going to be at the longer end of the worm, where the head is, and that's the tail. And they call that the clitellum. That's where the cocoons are going to be.
Oh.
So this is right here is basically a house design of a worm. So the top layer, that's where they're going to feed, the dining room basically. And the middle part's going to be their living room and where they, you know, hang out. And the bottom's going to be the restroom. So that's kind of,
Where you get the earthworm castings, right?
Is there any special?
Well, that's
kind of
where you
worm
get your
should
leachate.
use?
Oh, okay.
the earthworm castings are going to be all through there.
Okay.
You'll see them on top everywhere.
Okay.
You can't get away from those. But this is what a good healthy worm bin is going to look like. Something like that. You have a lot of worms through there. But here, before I run up through this trommel, I built this trommel. That's how I extract my castings. I have to dry them out to a certain, till they're not so wet. Because if I run them through there wet, they'll kind of snowball in there and they'll clump up, so I won't get very many castings. So I have to dry them out like that for a couple of days. The worm. But they live on the top layer of the soil, basically. And European, you can do European night crawlers in the same bin with the red wigglers, but they live a little bit deeper. The European night crawlers, the red wigglers live closer to the top surface, about probably 4 inches at the most below the top surface, and they'll break down more.
Back on your oyster shells earlier, Does the eggshells do the same thing?
Eggshells, I do eggshells also.
Of course, that's what I've been using. Of course, I've got a piece of pipe that I roll them down with and crush them up real fine like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, eggshells work good for calcium, real good.
Now, I thought about the oyster shells.
You know, I try to get a lot of stuff as I can for free as far as, like, you know, I got a donut shop down the road, they got a taqueria, so they'll give me all the eggshells I want, you know. I got to the point where I was got way too many eggshells. Like,
Well, we're coming.
their new home.
Oh,
And it don't stink. If your worm bin ever starts to get smelly or anything like that, that it's never their fault.
Look in the mirror.
It's never their fault. So you got to backtrack and see where you went wrong or what you're putting in there.
That's what we call you.
Got water somewhere here, huh? Or no?
Oh, yeah. Water bottles? Yeah.
We got to let me shake that out and pour it in there or something. Have to add water to it or something in a while.
Anna, there's some water in the watering can right out the front door.
Okay.
So y'all are fortunate too, y'all got a ton of leaf mold back there that y'all can get to add to that.
We've been gathering.
Yeah, well, cause you got that.
So when
swing
you
back
start
there,
your
so-
worm bin, my bin is about this size too, maybe a little bit longer and about the same width, but
Right.
not that deep.
Is it big?
I fill mine up. Is that right or wrong, or should I layer it
Well-
and build up?
Probably not because, I mean, it depends on how many worms you put in there also. You can pour some in there if you want to.
Are you
But
working?
in there, just going. There's little baby worms all through there.
Are you working
They
a
come out
bin or a
first.
tower?
A bin.
Bin?
Yeah, it might, you know, I've heard a lot. I mean, I've did where I filled mine up because I got so much. When I run them through the trommel, I got a lot of leftovers, and I have to put it back in the bin so they can break it down again. So, on my bin, the size bins I have, it'll fill it up a good little ways. But it's probably better to start and then build it up, really, because they kind of migrate. It's good to migrate your worms. That way, you can control where they go, and then you'll know where not very many worms are to harvest that section. You know what I'm saying? So if you do it that way, then you're not damaging as many worms, you know, saving as many worms as possible. I think about when I run them through the trommel, trying to save all my worms and not, you know, hurt them or whatever. Kind of delicate, I guess.
Worm lives matter.
Yeah.
Wait till you starts baby talking to him.
Yeah, right. Naming each one of them and stuff.
Right.
I was just breaking up these big chunks.
So being that size, how many worms do you suggest or recommend?
Being this size, about 100 worms per 5-gallon bucket, basically. Something like
Because I
that.
think when I started 2 years ago,
And
maybe
that'll,
3,
Uh-huh.
I bought a bag of 2,000, and that's
Yeah.
what I put in, being that size.
that's it. I mean, they'll see. The thing is, it depends on what your goal is. As far as if you're wanting to breed worms, they're called breeder bins, and they do those. They have a big bin for where the worms will just not have to worry about nothing. They'll just chill and live, get fat, whatever. But you take them out of that and then put them in small bins like totes, and then a lot of companies will have shelves going up to the ceiling, you know, with a lot of slide out trays, plastic totes, and those are called breeder bins, and they'll think their population dwindled, and they like large numbers, so they'll start mating like crazy, and that's how they double in population, you know. But it's like you're taking care of a lot of trays, you know, instead of just one big bin, you know, the companies. But if you're wanting to breed worms, make your worms, you know, populate fast and get a bunch of worms, then
I'm mainly after the castings.
you mainly after the castings.
For
If you're
personal
doing a
use,
big
right?
bin, it's easier just do a big bin.
And
And
this
just,
past time that I changed out my beds or whatever you want to call it,
uh-huh.
I actually separated them, made 2 bins.
Right.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's why I say that I started getting into that wedging system, because I think that's a better way to go, because you can migrate your worms easier that way, and then harvest that side, and then just do it in reverse that
Yeah,
way, and then kind of follow the.
I haven't done it that way. I normally empty the whole bin and sift it, and then
Yeah.
put the worms back in it and build a new bed.
Yeah, I mean, but
But Wesley
if you're
also
putting it- if you're putting
grows it to sell.
Yeah, I
worm
grow it to
casting,
sell it,
so
yeah,
he
I'm not-
does more of a commercial thing, whereas
Okay.
y'all
I have a
are more
lot for my
personal use.
garden
Right.
too.
Okay.
So, yeah, so y'all might want to do it different than I do for sure, but this right here is just like shredded cardboard, newspaper, stuff like that.
Fiber.
Paper. Yeah.
Everything is fiber.
They like the glue off the cardboard for some reason. I don't know.
After we're done with our move.
Mm-hmm.
Sell those boxes.
They don't like the packing tape.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
don't like plastic too much.
Good tip.
Yeah, that shredded paper I get every now and then, it's got credit card chips in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Run
I mean,
credit card
Mine too,
through
really,
that.
just keep it to a minimum, much as you can. You're not gonna, I mean, some's gonna slip by for sure, always.
Who you separate?
Sometimes
you get all
I find some
that
weird
out.
things in worm bins. How'd that
That's the
get
only
there?
way
I have no
discovered
clue.
it when I was sitting there.
Yeah.
We'll do it inside or outside. You know.
Ready?
Yeah, that'd work.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
Had a weak stream there and missed the bucket.
You were so
Alright, you also, I brought a bucket of castings, because that's like a primer or something. They makes them feel at home. So if you just put worms in a brand new environment, you know, you're building up worm bin, they might want to leave the worm bin. You'll see them crawling up the edges or something. That's just they're not comfortable. So you put castings in there to make them feel more at home, and then you put light over it, and it'll draw them down. And then once they draw down and realize, this their place to be, so they'll stay there.